Here is a quick start guide to reviewing audio sounds with Audacity. I will show you some basic functions to get you started, and I will also show some more advanced features later in the video. Assuming you already have Audacity downloaded, installed, and ready to go, let's open it up. Once we have Audacity open, we want to go up to the top left and click on the File tab. And then let's click on the Open tab. And this is where we select the audio we want to open in Audacity. You should already know where the files are located on your computer. For the examples in this video, I will be using audio our team recorded last year of a pack of coyotes howling. Select your audio file, and then click the Open tab. Once the file is open in Audacity, you will see the wave signature of the audio file you just opened. You see my audio has two different wave bars. My file is a stereo file and has two sides. If you open a mono file, you would only have one wave bar. Over here on the upper left of the audio file box, it will tell you whether it's a stereo or mono file. Up here we have the basic play functions: pause, play, stop, skip to start, skip to end, and record. The record button is useless when listening to audio, but all the others will be used. Again, this is an audio file of a pack of coyotes howling. They start howling at the 10-second mark. You can follow along with the general timeline located above your audio file. Mine is in 5-second intervals. It might be in seconds, minutes, or hours, depending on how long the audio file is. This audio file is only about a minute and a half long. I'm going to play the audio to the 25-second mark, so you get an idea of what we're working with. Okay, listen at the 10-second mark to hear the coyotes starting to howl. We have just listened to 25 seconds of recorded nighttime audio of a pack of coyotes. Now that we know how to open a file in Audacity and know where the basic play functions are, we are now ready to learn the in and outs of using Audacity for Bigfoot audio research. The selection tool is used for many things. Once you place the cursor over the WAV file, it will turn into the selection tool and change to a different icon. One of the most basic functions of the selection tool is allowing you to make a new start point anywhere within the audio that you want. For example, if you have a reason not to listen to the first 40 seconds of your audio, click at the general timeline located above the audio file and put the selection tool at the 40-second mark, and then just left click on the audio file like this. It now has a vertical bar, which is the new start point within the audio. Keep your eyes on this new start point we made at the 40-second mark. Now when I press the play button, the audio file will begin playing at our new start point like this. You can always make a new start point anywhere within the audio file that you want just by left clicking with the selection tool. You can always select the selection tool again by finding the little selection tool icon up on the toolbar, which looks just like the cursor icon. Then just left click to select it again. The more accurate time counter is located on my screen at the bottom left. We have selection start, end length, and audio position. When you start at the beginning of an audio file, the selection start box will be at all zeros. If you make a new start point within the audio, for example at the 50-second mark, the selection start box will now show the audio starting at the 50-second mark. The audio position box, this keeps the time of the audio you have listened to. Since we have made a new start point at the 50-second mark, when you press the play button, just like before, the audio position box will start on the 50-second mark. Keep your eyes on the audio position box when I hit the play button. You now see that it started at the 50-second mark and started counting off the time of the audio. If at the beginning of the audio, it will start at the 0 mark. Learning to watch these boxes is crucial to know the time of the audio sounds you hear. When you hear a sound, look down at the audio position box as quickly as possible and write down the time of the sound you heard. It's a very bad habit and a huge waste of time if you stop at the first sound you hear and rewind it to see what it was. Unless it's an absolutely incredible sound, just keep moving on and writing down the time of all the sounds you hear. It's always best to come back at a later date with fresh ears to analyze the sounds for a more thorough examination. And when you take a break or stop listening to audio, always write down the time you stopped so you can quickly find where you left off again. If you find a need to zoom in or enlarge the WAV file, here are several examples of how to do it. If you just want the WAV file to look larger on your screen without zooming, you can simply take the selection tool and move it to the bottom of the audio box. The audio box should be outlined in yellow. Put the selection tool over the audio box frame and it will turn into another cursor. Now left click on this line and drag it down like this. Now the WAV file is much larger, and if you're one of those that likes to watch the screen, this is a good way to make it much easier to see. If you want to actually zoom in on the audio file for a much more thorough examination of sound spikes, for example, here's how to do it. You can easily go to the View tab and click on the Zoom In tab. And you can do this as much as you want until enough zoom is achieved. Go back to the View tab and click on the Zoom Out tab to restore your view. If you lose where you are within the zoom, simply go back to the View tab and click on the Fit in Window tab. This will return the audio to the original view when you first open the file in Audacity. Another way to zoom in is by using the Zoom tool located next to the Selection tool. If you click on the Zoom tool tab, which looks like a magnifying glass, the cursor will now turn into a magnifying glass, and you can simply left click on the audio file and it will zoom in like this. To zoom out, just right click on the audio file, and again, if you can't find the way out, just go to the View tab and click on the Fit in Window tab so you can return to the original view. Sometimes when listening to audio, the sound quality could be really low and distant. Turning up the volume of the computer helps, which is also the same as the volume bar in Audacity. But it doesn't exactly help with making the more distant and quiet sounds within the audio itself louder to hear. But there is another way to make the audio file louder itself within Audacity. If you ever recorded some audio, but it all sounds distant and hard to hear, take the Selection tool and place it within an open area of the audio info box located to the left of the audio file. Left click once and this will highlight and select the entire audio file. You can tell the entire audio file is selected as the WAV file will turn to a different color. Once this is done, we want to go up to the Effects tab and then click on the Amplify tab. Once the Amplify box has come up, we want to make sure the Allow Clipping box is checked. To raise the volume of the WAV file, just left click on the volume bar and raise it just a little at a time. If you raise it too much at once, it could be really loud. You can always preview the amplified volume by clicking the Preview tab at the bottom of the box. If I click on the Preview tab before I make any adjustments, it will be the original volume like this. Now I'm going to move the volume slider bar up about 5 decibels to raise the volume of my audio. Well, 5.5. Now let's see how much louder the volume's changed. You can see the volume difference is much louder now. If you're happy with the adjustments you made, simply click on the OK button to save it. You can always undo any changes by going to the Edit tab and clicking on the Undo tab. And it will undo the last action you made, or this can be done simply by finding and clicking on the Undo and Redo icons located up on the toolbar. Now remember, if you use Amplify too much, it will also raise the volume of all the atmospheric and normal outside noises such as insects, wind, and other noises that is in the audio. Knowing how to highlight a section of audio is good for numerous reasons. Just like before, if you want to select the entire audio file, just go to the audio file box and left click within an empty area and it will select the entire audio track. The entire WAV file will turn a different color to let you know that all the audio is selected. You can deselect this just by clicking on the screen outside of the audio file box. Now let's learn how to select a section of audio. For example, you heard a really nice sound at the 10-second mark in the audio. Our example will be the start of the coyotes howling at the 10-second mark. And you want to listen to that sound a few times to evaluate it. We don't want the new start point to start exactly on the 10-second mark where the sound is located. So we want to give at least 5 seconds or more of leeway on both the beginning and the end of the audio we select, so we have time to get ready for the sound we want to hear. We take the selection tool and make a new start point at the 5-second mark. Now we have a new start point 5 seconds before the sound we want to hear. Place the selection tool cursor over the new start point. It will turn into a little hand with a pointing finger. Once you see the hand cursor, left click on the new selection point and drag it over the WAV file like this. We want to drag it to the 15-second mark and then just let go. If you did it right, you will see the color has changed over the selection of audio you just made. Now if you hit the play button long you have this selection of audio selected, it will only play the selected area like this. If you would like the selection of audio to keep playing over and over, go up to the Transport tab and click on the Loop Play tab. It will now repeat the selection of audio over and over until you hit the stop button like this. This keeps you from having to hit the play button every time you want to listen to the selection of audio. If you find an incredibly awesome sound you want to share with others, using the same highlighted section of audio we just made previously, or make a new one anywhere in the audio that you want, just go up to the File tab and go down and click on the Export Selected Audio tab. Here we want to make a name for the audio file we're saving. Make sure you save this file to some place where you can find it. Once you have given the file a name, click on the Save tab. Now the Audacity meta tag box will come up. Here you can name or put meta tags on your file. Then just click on the OK tab to save the file to your computer. You have now saved a small selection of audio out of a larger audio file. The smaller selection of audio is more easily shared with others through online media. Here is a more advanced lesson on how to remove sound frequencies from an audio file. This involves the removal of ambient and atmospheric sounds, insect sounds, and general noises that makes it harder to hear the sound you're trying to evaluate. If you have a really distant sound you need to hear better, here's how to use Audacity for removing noise within an audio file. Just using a noise removal tool doesn't exactly work the way you think. If you just try to remove noise, it will also remove the sound you're trying to hear. To do this, we want to remove the frequencies of the sounds that is distracting you from what you need to properly hear, but not remove the sounds you want to hear. This can only be achieved if the original file is a stereo file. A mono file will not work in this lesson. Go over to the audio info box and make sure the file is a stereo file. Now we want to click on the little black option tab that looks like a small triangle pointing downwards, located in the upper right of the audio info box. Once you click on this, you have an entire new selection of options. These options are only located by clicking the little black triangle tab in the audio box. These options are not found anywhere else in Audacity. Now go down and click on the split stereo track. This will split your stereo file into a left and right side. The file is already a stereo file, but you need to split into each side so you have the left and right side of the stereo field. If you do this with a mono file, the split stereo track will be grayed out and unusable. Once you click on this, you will now see that your audio info box has both the left side and the right side of the stereo file. It will tell you which one is left and which one is right in the upper left-hand corner of the info box. The left side will control the top wave file, and the bottom right side will control the bottom wave file. We are now ready to learn how to remove noise frequencies from an audio file. And once you learn how to do this, you will be able to impress all your Bigfoot friends with your super clear audio selections you send them on Facebook and other online media. First, we want to see which side of the stereo track has the most noise. We can see the left side, the top wave file, has more noise in the stereo field than the right side does, as shown by the right side's smaller wave signature. The right side is much smaller. This could have been caused by the placement of the mic on the audio recorder or many other reasons. You can also see the left side is louder by looking at the playback level bars located on the toolbar when you play the audio, as this shows both the left and right side of the audio like this. Sometimes both sides will look the same, and sometimes they don't, like in our example. We want to choose the side that has the most noise in it. Using the same selection of audio we've been using throughout the video, we want to make a new start point at the 5-second mark. So we have a few seconds before the coyotes start howling at the 10-second mark. We want to drag this up to the 15-second mark. Now we have a selection of audio with the coyotes howling, but we have some atmospheric and some insect noise that is making the coyotes harder to hear. You can tell it's hard to hear the coyotes howling with all the other noise going on. The coyotes are distant also from the audio recorder. So since we know the sound we want to hear starts at the 10-second mark, we want to find some of the atmospheric and insect noise that is making the coyotes harder to hear. So we want to play the audio and find a section that is just the sounds we want to remove. We have to make sure this section of audio does not contain any of the coyote sounds, because it will then also remove those sounds as well. Since we know there is no coyote sounds at the very beginning of the audio up until the 10-second mark, we have about 7 or 8 seconds of audio we can get a sample from. You can take this sample anywhere within the audio you want, as long as it doesn't contain the sounds you want to hear. We just want to get a sample of the sounds we want to remove. I'll play the audio and you will hear the atmospheric and insect noise we want to remove from the audio. I'm going to select an area of audio from the 2-second to the 8-second mark like this. Now when we play this selection of audio, we hear only the atmospheric and insect sounds we want to remove from the audio file. There is no coyote sounds in our selection, so that lets us know the coyote sounds will not be removed. Since we have our selection of audio selected, we want to go to the Effects tab, and then go down and click on the Noise Reduction tab. Once the noise reduction box has come up, we just want to look at the Step 1 option. You see a small box that says Get Noise Profile. Simply click on this and then the box will go away. Don't sit around waiting on something to happen, it already has. The noise reduction tool just took a sample of the section of audio that was selected. Now it has the audio profile of the atmospheric and insect noise we want to remove. Now just click anywhere on the outside of the audio file to deselect a selection of audio. Now we want to select both the left and right side of the audio file. Using your keyboard, press both the Control and the A key together and it will select both the left and right sides of the audio. Now that we have our sample of audio, we are ready for step 2. Go back to the Effects tab and again click on the Noise Reduction tab. This is where we remove those sounds we just sampled from the audio file. And unless you know what the different options does in step 2, it's best to leave them at the default settings until you learn how to manipulate the removal of sound. At the bottom of the box, there's a preview tab so you can test your settings. I'm just going to use the default settings here and show you how this works. When I press the preview tab, you will hear the noise reduction taking out the sounds we sampled. Now remember, you will not be able to totally remove all the sounds. The more you remove, the more it will affect the audio and will cause it to phase out. So go easy on the settings. Now if you're happy with these settings, just click on the OK button to save them. And once they take effect, the WAV files will become much smaller, as those sounds we don't want to hear are taken out of the audio file. The coyote sound spikes are still there, as we did not take out any sound frequencies from the coyotes. Now you will be able to hear the coyotes much better and more clear than you could before. Now since we only want a small clip of the coyotes, we're going to select a small section of audio. Now when we play this small selection of audio, you will be able to tell the difference from the original. The sound is now much more clear and we can hear the coyotes much better, whereas before it was hard to hear with all the noise that is now gone. At this point it sounds pretty good, but we can make it even better than it is by using Amplify to raise the volume of the audio selection. With the selection of audio still selected, go to the Effects tab and click on the Amplify tab. Now we can raise the volume of the selected audio. First, we want to make sure the Allow Clipping box is checked. My volume is already raised to 12 decibels. I'm going to leave it there and just preview it. The sound is now much more out front and loud than it was before. So if you're happy with your settings, just click the OK button to save it. Now the selected audio will be amplified. You can see the size of the WAV file has changed in the selection you made because of the amplification in volume compared to the rest of the file. Another important thing to do is, since we don't need the right side of the stereo file, we can simply go to the right side of the audio file and click on the Mute tab. Now the right side of the stereo field is muted. This makes the selected audio on the left side even better to hear and more quiet, like this. Now all you have to do is save this selection of audio is go to the File tab and click on the Export Selected Audio tab. Make a name for your audio file and then hit Save. And then just hit OK, and remember where you saved it to. Now let's hear the difference in the original unedited audio file compared to the cleaned up version of our selection we just saved. The original unedited version. And now the cleaned up version we just made. Well, that's all, folks, and good luck with your Bigfoot audio research.